Thank you. I've never had an applause before I've started, so that bodes well. Whether you applaud at the end will be a different story. Thank you for having me today. How's everyone doing? Come on, how's everyone doing? That's better, that's better. Keep the momentum going. So I'm Fred Mills. I'm co-founder and MD of the B1M, which is the world's largest and most subscribed to video channel for construction. I'm going to tell you more about what that is, what I do and why I do it a bit later on when it makes a bit more sense. But first of all, can I just have a show of hands? Just put your hand in the air if you've heard of BIM. Obviously, you're at a BIM conference, yeah. Now, keep your hands up if you've heard of digital construction, aside from the fact that it's on the screen at the moment. Okay, now keep your hands up if you'd be happy coming down to the front and giving a very clear explanation of what digital construction is. I'm not going to ask you to do it, don't worry. No one in this entire room. Wow, okay. Well, a few years ago, the B1M put a video on YouTube explaining what digital construction is, kind of putting a definition around it. That's gone on to become the top search result for digital construction on YouTube and on Google. So we've kind of, obviously I'm biased, but I kind of think we've defined digital construction. I'll let you decide that. But we said that it is, if the clicker's going to work, suspense. The use and application of digital tools to improve the process of delivering and operating the built environment. Now, we're going to come back to that a little bit later on, because I'm going to kind of give you a bit more background about what's happening in our industry. It is an incredibly exciting time. There is all kinds of technology coming into our sector. Everything from VR and AR. Technology, indeed. There we go. So virtual reality and augmented reality, we've heard a bit about this earlier today, but end users, stakeholders, designers being able to step into a space in a completely immersive context before they go anywhere near signing off the design or the design being built. Augmented reality, a real-world overlay, a virtual overlay to your real-world view, enabling you to see effectively design information or projects dashboard information over your real-world view, whether that's a site view or an impression of what the building may look like. Wearable technology, so this is coming into the industry in quite a big way, everything from kind of like Apple Watches, which have apps around productivity, safety, monitoring where people are on site, those kind of things. But also in a much more exciting way, complete bionic exoskeletons that we can wear on construction sites to gain strength, protect you from different elements. We're going to talk about those a little bit more later on. 3D printing, which some of you have heard about. This is 3D printing a house in Russia, but the ability to 3D print on a mass scale very quickly is really picking up pace, particularly in housing. 4D printing, so this is a evolution of the 3D concept. But what this is taking a 3D printed element, you can probably see across the top there, which has different elements of material printed, programmed into the 3D printed element. When that 3D printed element comes into contact with an energy source, it could be light, heat, in this case it's water, those different elements can contract and change shape to force the overall object to take on a different shape over time. So that's 3D printed, but taking on a different form over time, hence the 4D element. And that's coming into use. It started off in medicine, but it's now coming into the construction industry in the forms of plumbing and kind of smart, intelligent materials. Robotics, so the B1M did a video called The Construction Robots Are Coming, which was really cool and really ignited a big debate around, well, is this good for productivity? Is it going to replace people? How far is AI going? Really, really exciting ways of applying robotics to our industry and where it could be headed, particularly to help us address productivity. Drones, which I'm sure many of you have heard of. We're going to talk a bit more about drones later on. One of my favorites, this is a real technological innovation, self-healing concrete. So this is concrete that has a calcite precipitating bacteria embedded within its mix. when concrete cracks over time and water enters these cracks, those bacteria germinate, precipitate this calcite, and fill the cracks in the concrete, prolonging the life of that element of concrete in a building or a piece of infrastructure. Absolutely phenomenal. It's not a replacement of concrete at all. It's not going to help concrete buildings live forever, but it certainly prolongs life, which is, I think, a really interesting concept. The other one is smog-eating buildings. So this is a hospital in Mexico City, particularly in the world we live in now, generating so much pollution and the kind of damage we're doing to the environment. This building has got a facade that's coated in photocatalytic titanium dioxide. I just want to at this point say hello to the translator and say good luck with some of the big terms that I'm putting out. I will buy you a coffee afterwards. But this material oxidizes with pollutants in the air and converts them to clean air. Hence the term smog-eating building. This has been applied to a very large hospital in Mexico City, one of the most polluted cities in the world. But they're also looking at adding it into laundry detergents, so that the clothes we wear, the clothes that 8 billion people on this planet wear every day, could be cleaning the planet as we go, which is a really nice concept. Again, really interesting, just needs to be scaled a lot further. Under ocean data centers, so this is a data center that Microsoft have deployed onto the ocean floor using the cool ocean water to, with these heat exchangers on the outside, cool the servers in the middle. We live in a world where Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google, websites, the internet, is taking on a complete life of its own. All of our liking, sharing, commenting, watching, Netflix, all of that runs through data farms and server farms that take an enormous amount of energy to cool. So a lot of the technology firms are looking at ways to cool that by more affordable, more conventional, more natural, more clean means. So you've got things like Facebook building data centers in the Arctic and flushing those data centers with cool air. There's one in Luleå in northern Sweden. Hello to everyone in the audience from Sweden, and I apologize for my pronunciation of Luleå, whether it's right or wrong. And this is Microsoft's attempt, so putting a data center on the ocean floor, again, something they're looking at doing at scale. And finally, and I promise you we're going to come back to reality at some point, ocean scrapers. So these are a concept way for us to colonize the oceans once we've consumed the land mass on this planet. Obviously, 70% of planet Earth is water, and we haven't even begun to touch that space as an area to live in. These ocean scrapers would be communities that can float around the world that are 3D printed from the plastic waste dogging our oceans, which is a very nice concept. I hate to say concept. So, back to reality, back to November the 14th, 2018. I know when you hear that, you think, wow, that's really cool, it's really exciting, but I've got my day job and that's just all kind of fun stuff. And yeah, it is. It's a bit kind of out there, and it's easy to think, well, how on earth does that apply to my day-to-day job? And really, the important thing to get across with digital construction and what I'm passionate about is personalizing the value proposition. What does this mean to me? What does it mean to my business? How can it help me do what I do better? If you look at everything through that lens and nothing else, that will help you make decisions about what's right and wrong to do here. It's the same with information modeling, cloud computing. Don't feel you need to adopt all the BIM standards just because it's what you should do. Don't feel the need you need to go and have all the different WYSI tools and invest in all different kinds of software just to keep up. I think you need to look at this from a business perspective and say, how can this help my business? What do we need to do to improve our offering, to deliver a better outcome for our customer, to make more money at the end of the day? I'm going to go back to a couple of those crazy examples I spoke about. exoskeletons. Now this is really cool. It works really well on social media because it's an exoskeleton, bionic suit, I'm a robot, I'm going to be taking on the world. It's really exciting. But actually, when I was talking to these guys, they explained that these suits protect people doing sort of manual pneumatic drilling from hand-arm vibration and the effects of hand-arm vibration, enabling them to do 25% more work each day. Now, you times that across one individual, one asset, and take that across a workforce, take that across an industry, the impact on productivity and efficiency could be absolutely huge. Another example, drones. We work with a land survey company who they do a lot of surveys for development sites, so big housing developments that are very, very large sites, urban master plans, enormous areas. And historically, those sort of sites would take them 2 to 3 days to survey. They've now started using drones, and they can do that in 15 minutes. So what would have taken 2 or 3 days now takes them 15 minutes. And obviously, there's driving to site, there's setting up the drone, there's writing the report afterwards, there's validating the data. All of that's still part of the process. But even if you said we're going to do 2 surveys a day rather than 1 every 3 days, that's an ability you have with the same cost base to increase your revenue, to make more money, to grow your business, which I think is incredibly powerful. And what we're talking about here is efficiency with those digital tools, but also with BIM, digital collaboration, collaborating in the field. A lot of studies have pointed to the fact that using these approaches and adopting them wholesale could give us up to 20 to 25% efficiency in our industry. Worst case, let's say it's just 20%. On a 5-day week, that is an entire working day. Now, you can either use that efficiency gain to take Fridays off and have a 3-day weekend, which I know is something I would probably do myself. Or you can take on more work for the same cost base, growing your revenue and making more money. There's a very, very simple business diagram. Many of you, I know, I run my own business. It's much more complicated than this. But in simple terms, you want to have more revenue coming in than you do costs going out. And that magical thing at the top there is profit. It looks so simple on one slide, doesn't it? What we're talking about with these efficiency gains is keeping your cost base the same, but growing your revenue, therefore increasing your profit. Of course, it is not as simple as I've just made it look on a PowerPoint presentation. But that's the concept. That's the base of the theory. And actually, if you kind of get rid of all the rest of the distractions, the bureaucracy, the naysayers, the distractions, that's what we're aiming for, and that's what you can bring to your business. One point I want to get across is that this is not about mandating. It's not about going into your company tomorrow and saying, "Morning, hi everyone, today we are doing this," because you're not going to have the buy-in from your team. You need to compel people rather than tell people. That's something I'm a huge believer in. You will make far more progress if you have compelled your troops, your workforce, more than if you are just mandating them, badging them, and telling them what to do. I'll give an example. I used to work in a general contractor. I used to work in the pre-construction, pre-contract team. We were putting together tenders and bids for major projects. We were bidding work to win work for a major general contractor. And we had 3 estimators who sat on one desk together. And the guy in the middle left. We had a new guy join. And he started doing digital takeoff. So he started using a automated measuring tool to measure quantities and do takeoffs from design information. And he was doing takeoffs faster than the 2 guys sat next to him. His takeoffs were more accurate. Our line director, director above, was getting more and more happy with him. He was praising him. You could see him on a line to promotion. And the 2 guys next to him sort of started going, "Well, that's really interesting. What are you doing there? Can you show me how to do it?" And that, I think, is just such a powerful example of compelling people. It's not about someone above telling them what to do. It's them seeing a clear, demonstrable benefit from their peers that they can then take into their own job role to make their job role easier. Not because someone told them to do it, but because it makes their life easier, it enables them to hopefully get a promotion, all those sort of things. And I don't know about you, but for a long time, I was the BIM guy in that company. So if it got to the point where if I was saying that we need to do this in BIM, we need to adopt BIM approaches, let's do this in a digital way, people were like, oh, Fred's talking about BIM again. And it got to the point where I wasn't really heard. We learned that getting peers to show off, people's colleagues, mates, friends, to show off and recommend things was a really powerful way of driving change. Now, why does this matter? Why is this important? Why am I going on and on about the business case for digital construction? Well, of course, it can make your business more money, but our businesses all make up the construction industry, whether in Poland, in the UK, or any other country around the world, we all make up the construction industry. And the construction industry shapes the world that we all live in. I think we should take a moment to just reflect on that, because that is something that I think everyone should be incredibly proud of in this sector. The work we do shapes this planet. It shapes how every other business and service is able to operate. It shapes how every child, every teenager, every adult, every elderly person in every corner of this planet is able to live their lives. So getting what we do right is really, really important. It matters to everyone. It goes beyond just building things. This is shaping cities, it's shaping our planet. The problem we have is we don't really drive productivity in this sector. We haven't had a major productivity gain in a long time. As we heard earlier today, we're still on par with agriculture. We need to innovate more, we need to improve quality, and we need to inspire the best talent to come into this industry. We don't want young people to go into the proper jobs of politics and banking and law and becoming celebrities. We need that great talent in our industry. I'll give you an example. I went to quite a good school, and my friends from school have gone on to be, one of them is chief of staff to a cabinet minister in the UK. One is very high up in banking, one's a very senior marketing director, all kind of high-flying careers. And I went to a barbecue on the weekend once, and one of my friends said to me, oh, so what do you do, Fred? And I said, I work in construction. They said, oh, that makes sense, because you're quite broad-shouldered. I bet you're good at carrying bricks. And at the time, I was working on a £200 million tender for an entire schools program that was going to shape how thousands of children got their start in life. I just thought, wow, if that's how the world sees it, how do we ever get the best people to come and work in this industry? And I set out to change that mindset, that view of our sector. And I created the B1M, which, as I said, is the world's largest and most subscribed to video channel for construction. But what that comes down to is my mission and my goal in life. We say that we love construction, and we want the whole world to love it too. So all that amazing stuff I showed you, all that incredible technology, we're putting it out there and showing it to millions of people in this industry. We're not asking them to come to an event like this, or come to a trade show, or go out of their way and pick up a magazine. We're putting this in front of them on their social media news feeds, on platforms they already use, and check every single day. So it's reaching out to those people rather than asking them to opt in. We're also demonstrating our industry to the world, because we have an amazing opportunity right now with all this incredible technology that's come in to show planet Earth how incredible this sector is. It's not burly men laying bricks in the rain. It's cutting-edge technology. It's robots, it's drones, it's smart cities. It's people shaping how the human race lives on this planet. And that's really our objective. My objective is to fundamentally change the perception of construction amongst every human being on this planet. I know that sounds ridiculous and it sounds huge, but I am not bluffing with that. 5 years ago, in a bar in London, someone said to me, "Oh, you're not going to get 1 million people a month watching your stuff. You're never going to get to 1 million people. You should go and get a real job." And yeah, those people have gone quite quiet now because we've hit that target and we've well surpassed that target. I know it sounds huge, but in the context of what we do, in the context of social media, reaching every human being on Earth is not impossible. So the content we've created now reaches over 5 million people a month on planet Earth. It's growing very rapidly. A year ago, we had 1 million viewers. Today, we have 5 million viewers. So that kind of shows you the growth rate we're on. We're on track to top 6 million viewers in November, and we're hoping to keep on growing from there. I'm very proud of the mainstream recognition we've had as well. So YouTube themselves named the B1M as the Creator on the Rise channel to watch. Out of all 505 million YouTube channels in the world, we were tapped and selected as Creator on the Rise, which is obviously like a massive accolade for the B1M, but also for the construction industry. It's a real validation of the fact that YouTube themselves are saying, we don't want cats and funny cat videos and people falling over and Logan Paul and Kim Kardashian. This amazing stuff that is shaping our planet is cool content, and that's what we want to promote. I'm very proud as well at the bottom there, we're in the top 43,000 YouTube channels in the world, which I know sounds rubbish, but we're actually in the top 0.008% of all YouTube channels on the planet, and largest in the sector, obviously, by virtue of being in that position. Last bit about how great we are, I promise. But we also got a YouTube award recently for passing 100,000 subscribers on our platform. That was 3 months ago. As I stand here today, we have just over 250,000 people. So, a year ago, I had 10,000 subscribers. Earlier this summer, we had 100,000 subscribers, and just 3 months later, we've got 250,000 subscribers. So, I think that really shows how platforms like this can really spike and snowball, and how things can take on a life of their own. I know you've probably had more than enough of me talking, so rather than me going on about the idea and the concept, we're just going to play you a short video that I think really gets across why I do what I do and why my team do what we do with the B1M. He said.
Look at these constructions, touching and moulding our lives. To work here is to shape, to influence, to impact. To work here is to make a difference. To work here is to embrace the cutting edge every day. To work here is to innovate, to imagine, to dream, to solve, to make it happen. This is a sector that doesn't shout about itself, that isn't good at celebrating what it does, that many of the talented and best young people don't even notice. This is what happens when you share knowledge, expertise, and best practice with a mass audience in the world's most important industry. This is what happens when you show construction at its best to millions. This is what happens when you stop telling and start compelling. This is what happens when you stop boring and start engaging. This is what happens when you show people how great construction really is and what it can be. is the B1M.
I feel like we should have added coming summer 2019 at the end, but we decided not to. Thank you for listening to me today. If you have any more questions about how to take digital construction forward in your business, please let me know. But I hope you'll take from this pride in our industry, in the incredible work we do, and we hope you'll help us share it with the masses. Thank you. Cheers.